What's going on, Trojan family? What's up, and welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports, and this is your home for USC Trojans news. Hope everyone had a great weekend. It was certainly a great weekend at USC. First official visit weekend of June, and it was a good one. I mean, everyone I'm sure by now has seen the photos coming out. If not, we'll have some up on LAFB. We've reposted some. They're kind of all over the place, but looked like an awesome event. USC always, their content team knocks it out of the park with their official visit photos. Just real classy, right? I know there's a lot of chatter about the other schools' official visits and kind of gimmicky, and USC goes with the classy, like, locker room photo with the Heisman and the Letterman jacket. Like, you can't match class. It did kind of, I thought it was really cool. They set this thing up in the, like, going into the tunnel where each recruit kind of walked in through on the red carpet. Well, all the coaching staff was there. A lot of the recruiting staff was there. They had all the Heismans on display, cheering. It was I thought it was kind of cool. And then obviously the dinner they had, rooftop dinner downtown LA with the great fixings that LA has to offer in terms of fine cuisine with, I think it was Rex's Steakhouse that catered, I heard someone say, but looked fantastic. So it looked like an awesome event, awesome weekend, and some good stuff out of it. So the main point of this video, I'm going to talk about the latest intel of kind of the last prized recruit that we are waiting on, which is Talanoa Ely, 4-star linebacker out of Hawaii, originally out of Orange Lutheran. So that's going to be the main point. Really quickly, I'm a little late on it, so I don't want to dedicate a full video to it. But I do just want to mention Peyton Dyer, cornerback who committed to USC right or during the official visit weekend, was announced Sunday or yesterday officially. So, I didn't want to spend a whole video just since it is now a day late. But just at least mention, this is now the 5th defensive back that Doug Belk and Trevon Reed and USC and Danton Land have been able to land in this class. And it's another really good one. Super physical kid, 4-star out of Georgia. I believe he is let me see here, just so I get it right, the 25th ranked corner in this entire class per On3 industry standard. So, top 25 player at his position across the country. Another Georgia kid. I know people get concerned about that. I don't think there should be anything to be concerned about. USC, people like to headline the big names, the Xavier Griffins, the Justice Terrys that leave, but they've also landed a lot of recruits in Georgia. They do have a nice little, I won't call it a pipeline, but they do land good recruits from that state. You can just look over the last couple classes with, Alex Payne and Cam Fountain, and we can go down the list of some really good players that they have landed that really just don't get talked about. Everyone talks about the other ones that decommit. So I think that's overblown. I wouldn't worry about that at all. The other thing quickly I'll mention is I think a lot of people have brought up the fact that they have a lot of corners in this class and no safeties. I've said it before. I will say it again. And this is not necessarily just my opinion. It is my opinion, but also people I've talked to as well. Like USC, especially with Danton Lynn at the helm of the defensive coordinator, but I've talked to Doug Belk about it, like they are looking for versatility in the way they recruit, in the way they coach, in the way they play on Saturdays. They are looking for players who are versatile. So don't get hung up on whether a player has a CB or an S next to their name on these recruiting websites, because in reality, USC is recruiting DBs, defensive backs. They can play all over. Now, obviously, certain guys fit in better. I think truly Elbert Hill and Brandon Lockhart are corners. Elbert Hill probably nickel or slot, can play outside also. Lockhart, a little bigger, I think is great on the outside. I think Madden Riordan is probably more of a safety, but can play corner as well. I think Joshua Holland, who's listed as an athlete, can play both. And I think Peyton Dyer, who's size-wise more of a corner maybe, but plays with such physicality that can certainly play either or, whether it's nickel, outside, or safety. So just want to be clear on that. I think he was recruited as a corner in a way, but I don't want everyone getting hung up on, like, man, they have all these corners, no safeties. Like, they see these guys as DBs. They're going to test them out at both, put them in the best spots to succeed. And so at the end of the day, they have 5 defensive backs. And I think they're going to add one, probably not 2, probably one more. And so on that note, They are, from what we've heard, are now the signing of Peyton Dyer means they are out on Brandon Arrington and Devon Benjamin. Now, I don't know what people think about that. Obviously, Benjamin and Arrington are both California kids. Dyer's a Georgia kid, so I'm sure some people will get hung up on that. That's sometimes the way recruiting. They've offered both those kids, wanted them to be here, and sometimes the name of the game is like, all right, well, you have your offer. You're still taking visits. This kid wants to commit now. We're taking it now. And so seemingly out on those two. However, still very much in on five-star safety Jet Washington. I've talked about Jet before, done a video. I've written about him a bunch. This, outside of the guy I'm going to talk about next in Illy, Jet, and then maybe one more receiver. We'll talk about, Booby Feaster and Jaden Lott, who potentially could be committing at some point too, but I'll do a different video on them. But Jet, to me, is like the big domino if they could get to fall in their favor, just because of his size, because of his versatility, because they weren't kind of in it until recently. Like, it was seen as Alabama's race. Oregon was in it. USC is firmly in the mix now after his visit this past week. So Jets, by what I've heard and just by what I've seen and kind of reading the tea leaves, is the last defensive back they're really pursuing at this time. Doesn't mean that can change. It's June. Things can certainly change. Maybe things open back up for Arrington or Benjamin. But as of now, after Dyer commits, moving on from those two, still definitely in the race for Jet Washington, but happy with the 5 DBs they have. So let's pivot now. Talanoa Ely. Was it a week ago? I came out and said, did a video, did an article, that I believed it was down to 2 schools. At the time, he still had visits scheduled, I believe, for Notre Dame, Texas, BYU. BYU, I think he had canceled already before that. Oregon may have still been scheduled at that time. But I said I thought it was UCLA and USC. His visit from USC was originally supposed to be end of the month, moved it up to the beginning of the month. And I thought that indicated ASC wanted to get him on campus, try to get him to commit and shut things down and not visit elsewhere. 2, I think that was his excitement of wanting to potentially be at SC. So I said last week, I think it's down to 2 schools. Now officially today, Hayes Fawcett of On3 has said it's down to those 2 schools. He's canceled the rest of his visits. That's it. No more visits. He's announcing his commitment on Father's Day, this coming Sunday, June 15th. So I have also said I believe it will be USC. There's a lot of crystal balls out there. I'm not alone in this. Another crystal ball, I think, came from an Oregon recruiting insider saying USC. So I think UCLA is a very real player. A lot of USC fans will probably laugh at that. There's certain ties to the school. His 2 cousins, the Iamaliva brothers, both play there. Those are his cousins. There is some love for UCLA. I think Deshaun Foster, regardless of what people think, is putting the program in the right direction based on where it was the last few years. There's no denying the development they've done with linebackers. When you look at Latu was the first defender taken. He's more of an edge, but technically a linebacker. First defender taken in the 23 draft in the first round. And then just last year, Carson Schwessenberg from walk-on to the first player taken at the top of the second round and what he was able to do in their system. So I think it's real. UCLA is not just some name that was put on a graphic for maybe some clicks. However, that being said, I do believe without a doubt on June 15th, it will be USC that gets the commitment. And I think it's for a number of reasons. I think when you look at the momentum the program has, it's undeniable. And with this class, and for him to be able to be a part of this class and a part of kind of the rebuilding of California connection. I know he's in Hawaii now, but still considered a California kid. And when you look at kind of the Polynesian connection and what they're building in this class with Polynesian kids, with Kenai Pepe and Samote Katanga, and go on down the list. All these great Polynesian players that are kind of getting reintroduced to what USC should be and what it has been in the past. I think he can be a part of that. I think one other piece that maybe is not getting it talked about is the effect of the decision to move on from Xavier Griffin has. I think when Xavier Griffin, linebacker, was still committed to SC, they were absolutely still pursuing Talanoa Ely, and absolutely there was still a very strong chance he was going to commit. And you have arguably 2 of the best linebackers in the country in one class. However, when they decided to move on from Griffin, That allowed them to go all in on Ely and make him the face of the linebacker room for 26. Not only out of kind of need, but also out of desire. Like, okay, you're the dude. Like, we decided to move on from this 5-star because we believe you can be the true figurehead of this program. We believe in you that much. I think that can have some power and can resonate. Because everyone knows it wasn't just like, and this is, again, no shade to Xavier Griffin, but it wasn't just he decommitted. Like, SC basically said, we're going to move in a different direction. And that different direction was all in on Talanoa Ely. So I think that can speak some volumes. I think the development that SC now has on the defensive side of the football, when you look at, obviously, Danton Lynn and his system, I think Ely fits great in the system. But you had the coach like Rob Ryan. I mean, find me a better resume in college football. I mean, there's not many out there, if any, in terms of just what he's done for the linebacker position, but for just defenses as a whole. And his resume of winning and playing in big games and obviously getting to that next level at the NFL, like, he's one of the best names in NFL circles, now being able to coach you at the collegiate level. So I think the addition of Rob Ryan was huge. And then let's not understate the importance of Sean Nua. You know, he's the edge coach. Obviously, there's the Polynesian connection, but he's been heavily involved in his recruitment as well, which tells me that while he is being recruited as a true linebacker, there's absolutely going to be packages that we could see Ely featured sometimes at edge, which I think I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. We talk about versatility, able to have that versatility to play center of the box, cover linebackers, and also maybe crash down as an edge on certain third and long situations. So there's that. And then there's obviously the money, and I don't want to just say money, but the NIL arm that is the most powerful in college football right now that USC has. I think UCLA could probably offer a better package than people think, especially if Ely is kind of their golden recruit of this class headlining it, but it won't be able to compete with what USC can. USC's newfound NIL power, especially with this new house settlement and the addition of ref share down the line, has just made them stronger in this regards. So I don't think, in my opinion, I haven't talked to him about this, but I don't think Ely's recruitment has ever been, that's been like a top priority. But when you're one of the best players in all of the country, you deserve to get a good, fair, competitive offer, and USC can certainly give him one of the best. So you couple all of those things on top of the history, tradition, legacy, the love for the city of LA that the family has. I think at the end of the day, if he's doing a video picking hats, which I don't think he is, but if he is, I think he'll be picking up that USC Trojans hat. We'll see. Week away, a little less than a week, Father's Day. Good day to do it, right? All of us dads out there, getting to watch your son announce where he's going to college would be a pretty special moment as a father. So maybe I'll get my daughter able to do that. Me and my daughter went to the driving range for the first time. She's 5. Took her out there on Sunday, watching her slap the ball around. So maybe one day in whatever that is, 13 years from now, I'll get a nice Father's Day gift of her committing on a golf scholarship somewhere. We'll see. But let me know what you guys think. Obviously, you can let me know about the Dyer commitment, what you think about that. But let me know about this new intel on Ely and whether you think and truly believe he will be a Trojan here in a week. And if so, what that means for the class and kind of the linebacker position moving forward. We'll have plenty of more USC news coming out, more stuff from this weekend's official visit, or I should say this past weekend's, but obviously every weekend for the rest of the month, big official visitors coming to town, so we'll have plenty of stuff right here on the USC LAFB YouTube channel and always on LAFBnetwork.com. As always, fight on.